Most people believe they choose how they show up. They believe they decide who they are in a room. But human behavior tells a different story. Often people are not reacting to who you are. They are reacting to the role they think you occupy. And that role is decided quickly, silently, before you explain anything, before you speak at length, before you clarify your intentions. They are not waiting to understand you. They are adjusting to what they sense, your posture, your timing, your emotional position, and once that adjustment happens, it shapes how you are treated, how much space you are given, how much weight your words carry, and how much responsibility quietly lands on you. Not because you chose it, but because a role was assigned. Human behavior is efficient. The brain looks for shortcuts, not meaning every social environment creates roles without discussion, without agreement. Who leads, who supports, who absorbs tension, who adapts. This is not conscious, it is neurological roles. Reduce complexity. Lower decision-making cost. When people know how to treat you, they don't need to think. And once a role is established, the brain prefers to keep it, not because it is fair, but because it is predictable. This is why roles form quickly and resist change. You don't step into them intentionally, you slide into them through repetition. And once you're in, people relate to the role, not the person. Roles don't begin dramatically. They begin in small moments. Who speaks first? Who waits? Who adapts? Who smooths? Tension. If you are the one who adjusts, people learn they don't need to. If you are the one who explains, people learn they don't have to. If you are the one who accommodates, people learn that is your function, not your choice, your function. And once that function stabilizes, it becomes expectation. Expectation becomes treatment, and treatment becomes identity, at least externally. This is how people wake up one day, being treated as something they never consciously decided to be. This is important. A role is not a judgment of your worth, it is a judgment of your position. People are not deciding you are less valuable. They are deciding where to place you, and placement determines behavior. Who gets consulted, who gets informed, who gets tasked, who gets overlooked. Two people can be equally capable, but treated completely differently, because one is perceived as central and the other as adaptive. The difference is not skill, it is perceived role. And perceived roles shape everything, without a single word being said. This creates a specific kind of confusion. You feel involved but not influential, included but not decisive, relied on but not deferred to. Nothing is hostile, nothing is disrespectful, and yet you are not the reference point, because reference follows role. People don't organize around effort. They organize around position. And position is communicated behaviorally. So the frustration builds quietly, because there is no clear explanation, no conflict to point at, just a subtle sense that you are always reacting, never anchoring. Once a role forms, it reinforces itself. People treat you based on expectation, and expectation shapes interaction. If you are expected to adapt, you are given situations that require adaptation. If you are expected to stabilize, you are handed emotional weight. If you are expected to support, you are included late or after decisions are made, not maliciously, automatically, and each repetition strengthens the role, because the brain prefers consistency over reevaluation. This is how people stay stuck in roles, even after changing internally, because the environment hasn't updated its perception yet. Changing roles feels uncomfortable, not because it is wrong, but because it disrupts predictability. When you stop behaving as expected, people feel subtle friction, not anger, not rejection, just disorientation. They don't know how to place you anymore, and the nervous system dislikes ambiguity, so it often pressures you back into the familiar role, through silence, through confusion, through subtle resistance. This is why many people revert, not because they want to, but because the social system pulls them back. Most people try to change roles. By explaining, they clarify. they justify, they announce boundaries. But roles are not verbal, they are behavioral. Explanation rarely updates placement. What updates placement is what you stop compensating for, what you no longer rush to fix, what you allow to remain unresolved. Roles shift when behavior shifts, not when intentions are shared. The nervous system updates through experience, not discussion. Until people feel a different pattern, they will continue treating you the same way. Even if they intellectually agree with you, roles change when the environment receives new signals, signals of stability, signals of self-containment. When you stop filling gaps, others notice the space. When you stop absorbing tension, others feel it. Not as punishment, but as redistribution. This is how roles rebalance. Not through confrontation, but through absence of why. Automatic adjustment. When your nervous system stops volunteering. For a function, the system must reorganize. That reorganization feels awkward, but it is necessary. Because clarity only emerges when old patterns are interrupted. Many people confuse authority with control, but authority is not force. It is gravity. Gravity doesn't push. It holds people orient around what feels settled. When you no longer over-adapt, you signal grounding. When you allow pauses, you signal presence, and presence changes how others position themselves. Not because you demanded it, but because the system recalibrated, authority emerges. When your behavior stops asking where you belong and starts assuming space without justification. This stage feels uncomfortable because efficiency feels safe. Adapting quickly, explaining early, smoothing tension. These habits reduce friction, but they also lock you into roles. Letting moments breathe feels risky, but risk is how systems update. The brain learns through exposure, not reassurance. Each time you resist automatic adjustment, you introduce new information. That information slowly changes placement, not immediately, but steadily. And steadiness is what roles respond to. This is not about asserting dominance. You do not need to be louder, harsher, more forceful. In fact, those often reinforce the wrong role. What changes placement is reduced urgency. When you stop signaling, "I need to be accepted here," people respond differently because the nervous system reads self-placement, and self-placement invites external placement. You are not demanding space. You are occupying it, quietly, consistently. That is how roles shift without conflict over time. Something subtle happens. People pause around you, they check in. Instead of assuming, they wait. Instead of moving past. Not because you changed personalities, but because you changed signals. Your presence now asks less and holds more. That difference is felt. And once felt, it reorganizes interaction. This is when the old role begins to loosen. Not all at once, but enough for a new pattern to form. This is not about becoming more, it is about becoming clearer. Clarity reduces negotiation. When your behavior is stable, others don't test it. They adapt, not out of fear, but out of alignment. This is why some people say very little, yet influence direction. They are not performing, they are anchored, and anchoring quietly changes where you belong in a system, not because you claimed it, but because the system adjusted. People don't treat you based on who you say you are. They treat you based on the role they feel from you. That role is not destiny, but it is real. And once you see it, you regain choice, not to force change, but to stop reinforcing what no longer fits. When your nervous system settles, placement shifts, not louder but heavier, not faster but deeper, and that is how people stop reacting to a role and start responding to you.